And we're live! Hello, everybody, and welcome. And I'm the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher live call-in show. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. So the call-in part is the Skype name in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, the Realist Philosopher. If you'd like to be on the show, you simply Skype the Realist Philosopher, no spaces, and, well, I'll answer the call. Also, you can feel free to email me any questions or comments you have at admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's admin@therealistphilosopher.com. And also, those of you out there who are watching on platforms that have a chat space, please keep in mind, I don't read the chat messages while I'm doing the show. Having all those extra windows open tends to slow down my computer and affect the quality of the stream, might get dropped frames. I want to devote all my computer's resources to streaming this live, so I can't answer your questions during the show, but I do go and check out questions and comments after the show, okay? If you're watching on D Live and you would like me to answer any questions you might have, please make a donation and I will go check those out. Just want to let you all know, yes, I am on a platform called D Live right now. If you're watching on YouTube or something else other than D Live, it's a platform that is essentially very much like YouTube. You can upload videos, you live stream to it. And it uses blockchain technology, which I don't know what the hell that is, but from what I understand, it's a free speech platform pretty much, well, a lot freer speech than YouTube, and it has monetization that is based on their own crypto coins. So you go there, use PayPal or whatever to buy some Lino coins, right? They have their own crypto coin. And then you can donate that to me, and then whenever I want to, access those, I just cash it out as regular money. So it's all anonymous. I'm anonymous, you're anonymous. So if you just want to make a one-time donation, please go there and watch, purchase some Lino coins, and please donate. And also, if you'd like to be a more long-term supporter, check out the realistphilosopher.com/donate. That is the realistphilosopher.com/donate. And of course, you'll see all my social media platforms on the bottom of the screen: Facebook, Twitter, Gab, and Instagram. Hopefully, you'll go check me out on those as well. Alrighty then. Let's get right to it. Shall we? All right. So we got some nonsense going on in the news. Always nonsense. Always nonsense. Especially from The Guardian. My God. Are there any publications out there that are pro-male? Or if they're just not pro-male, like at the very least not radical feminist, radical leftist publications, even moderately leftist would be nice. Are there any that are just moderately on the left? No, I really don't think so. It seems like they're all people by a bunch of nutjob social justice warriors. Ay. Listen to this from The Guardian. This is crazy. It's written by a man. I didn't even know they had any men working at The Guardian. I'm surprised. I guess he must be a token male. Yeah. He's Indian, you see. We need diversity. What kind of diversity? Diversity of race. Well, what about diversity of opinion? What about diversity of ideas and thought? No, we don't want that kind. That's the kind that really matters. We just want some bullshit diversity based on skin color, even though we claim not to care about race. Oh, okay. So this is funny. Some guy trying to pass himself off as a real man with a picture of himself with some giant, big, thick beard. He's a soy boy, though. The guy's name is Romesh Ranganathan. And unfortunately, Romesh, yeah, he's your typical, he's not a white guy, but he's your pretty typical Western soy boy, beta male dude. My wife and I are stuck in a passion-free routine, and I'm very happy. I must have a fat wife. Yeah, I'd be happy too if I didn't have to have sex with that. God, big fatty is my wife. This is becoming ever more common today. Excuse me. people in sexless relationships or relationships with very little sex. It's becoming ever more common. Well, of course, it makes sense, right? Body positivity. Love me. No, I'm a big fat slob, right? Yeah, women telling men that, oh, you're liking thin women. Oh, that's just a social construct. That's in no way, shape, or form based in biology. Oh, no. Yeah. There's no truth to that, right? That's just made up. Who pushed that, by the way? Who pushed that? Men? I mean, why have a preference for one over the other then? Why have a preference for one over the other? That's the question. Did somebody just randomly one day roll a die? Just roll a die and say, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to like thin women over fat. All right, I'm going to roll a die here. By the way, is there a two-sided die? I don't think so. And we'll say odds is fatties and evens are thinnies. So rolls the die. Okay. The die said we need to like thinnies. Okay, I like thin women then. What? Where does the preference come from in the first place? That's the thing you have to ask yourself that nobody ever asks. Why did this preference exist? Because there had to be a preference, because if there wasn't a preference, the construct itself wouldn't have developed. It's not a construct, by the way. It's a reflection of our biology, of our evolution, our preferences, that is. Nobody ever asks these questions, though. No, the only reason you have a preference is because it's a social construct, but I would have had to have a preference to begin with to choose one over the other. If they're just arbitrary and, as you're saying, random, and if they're not random, then there had to be a reason that I chose thin women over fat, right? That they're easier to pick up? Is that all it is? They're easier to pick up and easier to beat up because they don't have all that armor made of fat and lard and shit. Oh, so the preference is based in practicality. Okay, so you're telling me when the cavemen would grab the women and drag them back to their cave by their hair, that the fat ones were harder to drag and beat up with the club than the thin ones. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So stupid. All right, but anyway, yeah. So this pathetic soy boy dude who represents an ever-growing sector of the population of young people says, be happy being not happy. Be happy in a sexless relationship. I don't think I'll be able to read all this, by the way. It's just so stupid. When my wife and I promised the rest of our lives to each other. You're a sucker to get into that kind of deal these days. I doubt either of us suspected that life would involve quite so much TV. Yeah, that's a real fulfilling life, huh? Marrying somebody, no sex, lots of TV. Oh boy. I am working long hours at the moment. At The Guardian? Really? Well, of course, he's the man, right? They have to hire somebody to do the actual work, right? And every day I call my wife and say something along the lines of, when I get home, shall we just snuggle up and watch something? What's wrong with you? Snuggle up? The fuck, is she a Care Bear? The fuck I want to snuggle up with her for? I want to bang her in the ass. I want to fucking snuggle with some broad. What are you talking about? She agrees. Then when I get in, we spend some time saying things like, it's just nice to spend some quality time together, isn't it? I'm about to cry. I'm having my man period. What the fuck? Ignoring the fact that we have just decided to stare in the same direction for a few hours before going to sleep. Wow. Is this the future of humanity, huh? Oh, boy. That sleep will involve 2 minutes of us pretending to want to cuddle. I don't understand. Why are you even married? Before one of us executes a subtle reshuffle that frees us from each other. And so it will continue till one of us dies. He's a nihilist. This fucking guy is a nihilist. This seems to be the case with kids these days, with young people in their 30s and below. There's no meaning. No meaning at all. It's all meaningless. So why even bother making any effort? I say one of us, but I have Sri Lankan heart manufacturing, so it will almost certainly be me. Sri Lankan heart manufacturing. I don't understand what that means. All right. What the fuck's he talking about? So we have this conversation every day as if we are coming to the decision afresh. Yeah, because some part of you still wants love, affection, and sex, but you're too lazy and have too little fucking testosterone in your system, despite all that facial hair, which isn't really in any way, shape, or form based on how much testosterone you have. Pretending for nobody's benefit that it hasn't actually become our routine. I don't mind it at all. I'm very happy, and I think she is too. You think? Have you asked her? Oh, of course he hasn't, right? They don't have any real meaningful communication. They just sit and watch TV together. Having said that, I haven't asked her. Well, that's a great marriage! Oh, boy! Can I spend the rest of my life with somebody who I really don't know and I don't ever talk to? Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Life has no meaning, so why even bother, right? Yeah, okay. This sounds so depressing. And I'm not good at reading signals. Well, no wonder you're not having any relations. So you don't communicate with her. You can't read signals. So it's as likely she's in the later stages of preparing to leave me. What a loser. What a fucking loser. You're a loser, pal. In fact, I would say it's more than likely. I was playing battles with our youngest son recently. Oh my God, they have kids too. Wow. Why? You don't even know each other or talk to each other. What are you having kids for? With our youngest son recently, a game that involves us fighting each other while he repeatedly changes the rules until it's impossible for him to lose. And you let him do that? Why? Why would you let your son continually change the rules until he essentially can't lose? That's not reality. You know, I don't care if you're playing a game with a kid. It's still your kid and it's your job in everything you do to prepare this kid for reality. And games, in a small way, are sort of a representation of reality. They have rules for a reason. If you're constantly playing games with your kid and you don't have any rules in those games, you're kind of teaching him that, you can bend, break, create your own rules. No consequences. I wouldn't allow that. I wouldn't let the little fucker change the rules and beat me. Are you kidding me? I'm going to fight that little bastard until I win. And then someday he'll beat me, and then it'll mean something. And it's not like we're having a fisticuffs, right? It's not like we're having fisticuffs or something. I mean, he has as much chance of, well. But, I mean, depending on what kind of game it is, if it's a roll of the die or some bullshit, he's just as much chance of winning as me, or almost. Why would you let him win? I don't get that. I do not get that. I would not let some kid beat me, okay? I'm sorry. So, when my son told me he had a secret daddy. Yeah, he wants a real man. He wants an actual daddy. Not some little playmate who's not going to be a father. I asked him who the secret daddy was, and he said he couldn't tell me because it was a secret. Well, yeah. Which made me feel very foolish for asking. I asked him again at bedtime last night, and he told me he was joking, and it's me. It sounds exactly like the sort of thing a cheating wife would tell her son to say. Yeah. What a loser this fucking guy is. Yeah, he's perfectly happy. I'm perfectly happy having no sex with my life, being a pathetic loser, weakling, soy boy who comes home, snuggles, and makes no effort. Well, I'm not surprised that she wants to bang other dudes. And I really honestly couldn't blame her. Because if you're not giving her what she needs, she's going to go somewhere else. Routine is the supposed enemy of passion. Usually, by the way, this is the shoe's on the other foot. Usually it's the woman who makes no effort, who doesn't really try at all, who gives up. The man is willing, but she's unwilling, shooting him down constantly, rejecting him. He wants sex, she don't. This is not a common occurrence where it's the guy that's acting like this. Routine is the supposed enemy of passion, and I am constantly, not necessarily, and I am constantly paranoid that we are on the slide and haven't noticed. Pal, I don't think you'd notice if your house was on fire when you got home. You'd walk in, everything would be burning around you, your kid would be burning alive, your wife would be burning alive, and you'd just sit down and eat a fucking Hungry Man dinner and watch TV. Do they have Hungry Man dinners anymore? Horrible food. We were at a restaurant a while ago. Well, that's not routine, is it? Well, maybe it is. I don't know. And there was a couple next to us who ate their meal pretty much in total silence. Yeah, that's the new normal. Welcome to the new normal, people, where you will be happy with less. Accept less and be happy or be miserable. Be happy being miserable. Oh, boy. He goes on to say, I was so smug. I hope we never get like that. I said, like the judgmental little shit I am. All right. So you already are like that. The fact that you don't seem to realize it, well, you're not too bright, pal. Not too fucking bright. This is your future if you get married, by the way. Damn allergies. This is your future. Want to get married? Like this pathetic loser whose wife is probably cheating on him and he already seems to be aware of it but doesn't care. Wow. See, this is the problem, all right? If you lead a life where you're nihilistic and you believe life has no meaning, you're much more willing to accept that which prior to believing in meaninglessness would be unacceptable to you. Yeah, be happy with less. Be happy with a miserable existence like this fucking guy. How pathetic. How pathetic. My God. Boy, oh boy. This guy'd fit right in India. Where it looks like that's his mother country or his parents' mother country. I mean, shit. Feminism has taken hold there, too. All right, let's... so you have any comments, any thoughts on that? Feel free to call in. Call in using Skype. Yeah, so if you want to contact me, get Skype. It's not difficult. It doesn't run in the background. It's like, 150 megabytes. I mean, unless you're using a 20-year-old computer that has a 15 gigabyte hard drive, 150 megabytes is nothing. So, yeah, it's active only when you want it to be. It doesn't run in the background. So, no problem. Download Skype if you want to talk to me. Not that difficult. Or send me an email, as I said, with questions or comments you'd like me to address, and I will address them if possible, meaning, are your questions good enough? Are your comments good enough, interesting enough for me to address on the show? If they are, I will address them. All right, let's move on from this pathetic loser soy boy. I can't stand talking about him anymore. What a pathetic loser. All right, very typical of feminism. Listen to this. So, Laurie Loughlin. So, for those of you who don't know who Laurie Loughlin is, she played that broad who was actually a pretty good-looking broad back then on that show Full House that had those two pathetic wussy boy, loser, soy boy, wimpy men, and then Uncle Jesse, who was kind of like a bad boy living there. I don't know why. I don't remember the premise of the show. What was it? You had 4 girls, so you had the 2 little twins, and then you had the middle child, and then you had the oldest. And I think they're making some kind of remake now, like Fuller House. Oh, God. I didn't think I could imagine anything worse than the original show Full House, but from what I've seen, this is worse. Has all the little girls all grown up, minus the twins. I guess they died. I don't know. They had to come up with some excuse why the twins aren't there anymore. The Olsen twins didn't want to do it, I guess, because they got such wonderful careers now, right? Yeah, pushing ano products, anorexic. We're anos! And our career is pushing anorexia as a healthy alternative to eating normally. Okay. Laurie Loughlin was the broad that married Uncle Jesse, who was uncle, I guess, by marriage. I think that the father, who was played by that guy that did that America's Funniest Home Videos, pathetic wimp, beta male pussy boy. Supposedly his wife, him and his wife are the ones that had all those girls, the 2 twins and the middle child and the older one. And Jesse was the brother of that woman. I don't know. The whole premise was so stupid. I can't imagine anybody watched it, but they did, unfortunately. It managed to stay home for a while. But she was the aunt, and I'll give her this. She's a broad in her 50s. I think she's older than me, even. She looks decent. She's not a bad-looking broad for a broad that's pushing 60, right? And her daughters, well, one of them's hot. Looks like one of them has 1 arm. I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm looking at a picture here with a 1-armed girl beside her. One of her kids has 1 arm? What the fuck? I don't know. But anyway, she's the broad that was involved in that college admission scandal where she was essentially paying $500,000 to get her kid into university because apparently her kids are dummies. They can't do the same level of work as other kids. Yeah. Well, either that or, they're white. They're white kids too, right? They don't have the... this is so funny. So they're sending her to jail for exercising the only real privilege that she can, which is money. Meanwhile, they got all this affirmative action bullshit that is discriminating against white people and Asian people and essentially letting black kids and brown kids into the school based solely on their skin color. But that's okay. That's okay. Okay. So Laurie Loughlin it blames her husband for college admissions disaster. This is so typical, right? When the chips are down, the man becomes the sacrificial lamb. I didn't do it. It was my husband. He's responsible, right? Amazing. Women want equality, but they don't want to be held responsible when they fuck up. They only want to be held responsible when something goes right. Everything's going good. It was me. It was me. Which it wasn't in most cases. But when things go bad, it was him. It was him. It's not me. So Full House star Laurie Loughlin is pointing the finger at her husband for ensnaring the couple in the explosive college admissions scandal. Yeah, she's facing jail time, by the way. This genius broad who was offered a deal but turned it down because she thought the prosecutor was bluffing. Yeah. They're not going to send a rich white lady to jail, especially a celebrity. Honey, you ain't been a fucking celebrity for 30 years, okay? Get the fuck out of here. And even when you did that crappy show, you weren't really a celebrity. And it's creating a tidal wave of emotion. A tidal wave of emotion in their previously happy household. The New York Post reports, imagine that. It's pretty easy to be happy when you can toss around $500,000 like it was nothing, right? That doesn't put too much strain on your relationship. When the chips are down, baby, then we see how strong that bond really is. Not too strong, is it, buddy? You're finding out. You're finding out, right? Now you're finding out. You're finding out where you really are in your relationship. What kind of relationship you really have. It's not a very good one. It's easy to believe that things are great when things are great. Yeah. Loughlin and hubby fashion designer Massimo Giannulli are fighting, and both are fighting with their Instagram influencer daughter, Olivia Jade. The pair are accused of coughing up an eye-watering $500,000. Well, eye-watering for you or me, not for them. To get their daughters, Olivia Jade and Isabella Rose, who apparently has one arm, into the University of Southern California as members of the rowing team. Neither rose. Rowing team? That's a sport? I mean, I know it's a sport in some places, right? But in California, they have a rowing team? In the water, they're like polluted? Like dead bodies floating around people's heads and garbage and trash and shit and raccoons and all. Can you imagine trying to row through that? Fucking A. Fuck. Rowing team. Laurie is constantly arguing with Massimo because she's beginning to grasp that they are in very serious jeopardy. Yeah, so I'm going to try and lay some of the blame off on my hubby so maybe they won't give me as much jail time. Yeah. Because, there really is a preference towards women in regards to meting out punishment, right? I mean, there's a preference. There's a preference in regards to giving them less jail time. There's a preference towards letting them off the hook, right? And especially if you have somebody else to blame. Boy, oh boy. This guy's in deep shit. I feel sorry for this guy. Wow, she could give a shit about him, apparently. She gave a shit, when there was no strife, when there was no difficulty. But now that, things ain't going too good, you see how important you really are. Good Lord. So sad. Initially, Loughlin appeared to treat the federal charges as a joke, which is typical of a rich broad. But now reality has set in that the pair could face potentially jail sentences of up to 40 years. They are charged with federal wire fraud and money laundering. I don't understand this. What about what Jussie Smollett did? in the world does this fucking guy, Jussie Smollett, get off? What happened to white privilege? This Laurie Loughlin is white and a woman, but she's facing 40 years in jail. I don't see the prosecutor in this case dropping the charges, right? Let alone all of the charges. But Juicy, well, he bounced the ball around with some homeless orphans for 2 days. We'll let him off the hook. What the fuck? I thought the black people were oppressed. The truth of the matter is that the exact opposite is really the case. She's white. That cancels out her being female. She really has no privilege at all. Meanwhile, a man who's white, double whammy. So Laurie Loughlin is a -1 for being white, but at the same time, she has a +1 being a woman, so she's got a 0 privilege. In that case. Well, maybe not 0, okay? Because she's a Wayman, right? But in comparison to Jussie Smollett, anyway. Now, Jussie Smollett has triple privilege, baby. So in comparison, he's 3 times more likely to get off. He's gay. He's black. Okay, that's double. All right, so gay and black. Because the being a man isn't privilege anymore. If it ever was. Oh, Juicy! You're going to get off, buddy. He's going to get off. This broad's going to go to jail for 40 years. That's great. That's great. Now Loughlin is said to be freaking out at the likelihood of prison. The couple at first thought prosecutors were bluffing. I don't know why you would think that. And turned down the plea deal accepted by shame-faced Desperate Housewives star Felicity Huffman. Yeah, there was some jail time involved. But these kind of cases, you're not going to be going to a supermax, okay? Or even a maximum security. You're going to be going to like a minimum security country club that has fucking tennis courts, basketball courts, volleyball courts, fucking internet, libraries. I mean, it's like a vacation. Well, okay, so instead they were hit with money laundering charges as the feds proved they're not kidding around. Right. The couple has pleaded not guilty. Morons. Laughlin's pals are also pinning the disaster on her husband. I foresee this marriage ending in divorce. Unless this guy is one of the biggest soy boy losers on the fucking planet. Oh, my God. You would think she would get some kind of break, right? Because she is a broad, okay? Yeah. I mean, standing alone or compared to a man, yeah, she's got a +1. She's a Wayman, but, yeah. Oh, imagine what would be happening if this was a man. Oh, and now she's trying to lay it off on her husband, though. Oh, my God. This poor guy. Poor fucking guy. Will she see the inside of a jail cell? I don't know. Maybe. Everyone feels bad for her, but not her husband. It's so funny. Their preference for females, their pro-female preference is so obvious. And they don't see it. Everyone feels bad for her, but not her husband. They think the situation was something concocted by her husband. Why does everybody think that women are more conniving and deceitful than men? I don't know why people believe it must have been right, because, men are always the bad guys, right? So stupid. Goes on to say her friends don't like him. Really? They've been married for at least 19, I see they have a 19-year-old daughter, Olivia Jade. 19, but she's not in university yet? What the hell's up with that? Probably one of these spoiled kids that took a year off. I need a break. From not studying. I couldn't be bothered to take school seriously at all, so my mommy had to fork out $500,000, and I had to pretend to be a rower. A rower! She's going to go to the school and then not row. Isn't that funny? How did she think nobody would notice this? I'm going to pay the school off to let my daughter in under the pretext of being on the rowing team, and then she'll never do any rowing. Wouldn't that be kind of obvious? Fuck. Yeah. Now you know how much she cares about your pal. Women are as loyal as their options, okay? And now she has the option between you and jail. Well, she's going to throw you under the bus. Now this guy's finding out the reality of things. You don't mean anything to her. She don't give a shit about you. Again, no matter how this ends up, I see this ending in divorce unless this guy is one of the biggest cuck wimps I've ever seen. If my wife threw me under the bus like this, I would file for divorce that day. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be stupid enough to be married, but wow, just wow. Want another example that modern Western women only see men as utilities? Well, here you go. Nicolas Cage's wife of 4 days. What's up with this guy? Now, we know that Nicolas Cage has bad judgment, right? We know that this fucking guy cannot handle his money. He's been bankrupt a number of different times. He's had to sell properties. He's been broke. He's had to do shitty, crappy, terrible movies just to have enough money to buy a bowl of soup. I mean, he blows his money left and fucking right. Sad thing is, he's a pretty good actor. He's a pretty good fucking actor. But he's lousy with money. Yeah, so Nicolas Cage's wife of 4 days agrees to divorce, but she asks for, get this, spousal support, which she'll probably get. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, she shouldn't. So the whole point of spousal support is that your wife has been married to you a long period of time. Men almost never get this. It's very rare, right? The whole premise is that you've been married to another person who's been supporting you for a long period of time, and so you no longer have enough marketplace value, enough marketable skills to make a good living on your own. Add to that the fact that you've become accustomed. Apparently, men don't become accustomed to anything. They almost never get this. It's always women. But women apparently become accustomed to a certain lifestyle, a certain level of living, and, you know, it would be criminal to take that away from them. Never seems to be a consideration when it's a man, though, in the same position. But yeah, we can't take away her posh lifestyle, so let's give her half his money and alimony forever. Which, by the way, is the case if you've been married for more than 10 years in California. So, but I don't know how the hell she's going to justify getting spousal support for 4 days of marriage. What the fuck's up with that? In 4 days, you became accustomed to a certain lifestyle? Really? So Nicolas Cage wants an annulment just 4 days after his latest trip down the aisle. He had been married, by the way, 3 times before this. So I'm officially branding Nicolas Cage a low IQ retard on par with Forrest Gump, which I think is I think it's a case I can make considering how bad he is with money and handling personal finances in general and just living his life. This guy is a retard, okay? He's a total retard. Who gets married 4 times? Who? Stupid people, right? So the woman Nicolas Cage was married to for 4 days before filing for an annulment claims she's entitled to spousal support and wants the face-off star to pay her legal fees. I'm going to marry some young Asian broad. And by the way, most Asian broads marrying white dudes are gold diggers looking for a green card. You'd have to be a fucking fool to marry one of these broads. Case in point, the 55-year-old actor married Erika Koike, but she's Asian. I don't know what kind of name that is. Maybe she's Japanese. During a night of drinking in Las Vegas. Oh my God. That's the most expensive fucking drinking. That's the most expensive bottle of tequila you're ever going to have drank, Nico, after dating for a year. Oh my God. He filed for an annulment just 4 days later, explaining in court documents that he was too drunk to adequately agree to the decision. Now, if this was a woman, she would automatically get granted an annulment. And in addition, the court may or may not charge the man with rape just because, well, you did something with a broad where she was in some way, shape, or form impaired. So we want to throw some other fucking charges at you. But, Wayman taking advantage of a man? No, can't happen. Can't happen. So prior to obtaining a marriage license and participating in a marriage ceremony, okay, she's a good-looking broad, I'll give her that. They were both drinking to the point of intoxication. Well, I wouldn't think the point of drinking is to not get intoxicated, so yeah. According to a report from TMZ, Koike agreed to a divorce but doesn't agree that the impulsiveness of the decision qualifies for an annulment. You see, an annulment means that it never happened, so she can't get money. I don't know how much money she thinks she's going to get. As a result, she believes she's eligible for spousal support. Koike claims she lives there, so we know why she's with him, right? Excuse me. We know that the only reason she's with him is money. Because they've been married 4 days and she's trying to get spousal support? Come on. Really? Oh, listen to this bullshit. Koike claims she lost career opportunities during the relationship. I love it. She wants to be paid for the prior year that they were together but not married. See, this is women. This is female entitlement for you right here. You were in a relationship with me, you need to pay for it. And this is what women believe. No, we don't also get pleasure out of sex. It's not 50-50. It's not mutual. We women press for equality in all things, but really, we want to push the idea that we just have sex with men because they want it. It's for them, not us. So pay me money. And that she's also suffered consequences to her career because this has damaged her reputation. I've never heard of her. And I don't know what her career is. I'm guessing it's not in anything that's very highbrow. So, I think that your career as, a makeup artist or whatever the hell you are, I think it'll be fine, okay? The vapid airheads that come to you to get their nails painted, I don't think they even know who the fuck you are. Cage previously alleged that she didn't disclose her full criminal history to him prior to the marriage ceremony. Criminal history! Could you imagine? You're walking down the aisle, you get married, and you find out the next day that your wife's a murderer. Honey, could you pass the tequila? I want to get even more drunk than I already am. Sure, honey. Oh, and by the way, I killed my last husband. So I say, I'm getting an annulment. I'm going to get an annulment. You don't have grounds for an annulment, you son of a bitch. The fact that I'm a murderer is not pertinent. Oh, we have a difference of opinion, I guess. However, the plot thickens and the Koike revealed Cage asked her to start again in the right way just 12 days after filing for an annulment, which he claims proves the relationship was legit. That proves absolutely nothing, and it doesn't discard the annulment that he filed for, which he should have been granted. He should have been granted. Absolutely. I mean, if a woman lies like this, or you're getting married while you're drunk, or both combined, he should automatically get an annulment. But of course, we're talking about a woman who is the so-called aggrieved party. She's not the one filing for divorce. If the man files for divorce, he will get no consideration. A woman, yeah, she'll get what she wants, but he's not going to get what he wants. Wow. I don't understand this. I mean, it's not like he's over the hill. Okay, 55, he's an old guy, but he still looks pretty good, and he's got some money, right? And he's still a marketable actor, okay? Yeah, okay, he's not loaded, but he could do a movie and make 10, 15 million bucks like that, right? Which she knows, obviously, yeah. This great career that she had. I gave up career opportunities. Well, it's not my job to pay for your bad decisions. Meanwhile, if a man fucks up, well, you're not going to get that annulment. You're not going to get any special consideration. You're not going to get any alimony. So sad. Why did he get married? I don't understand. How dumb could he be? How smart do you think Nicolas Cage is? Do you think he even has 100 IQ? It's been my experience that these Hollywood actors and actresses are not very bright. They're good at playing make-believe, but in regards to their intelligence, when it comes to normal life, when it comes to living their life, in the objective world, in an objective way, living in reality, they don't seem too bright to me. I think this guy's IQ, it might be below 100. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what he was thinking. 4 marriages? I mean, he's been married 3 times before. Wouldn't you think he learned the lesson? It's like you stick your hand in the fire and your hand gets burned. Fire? Burns. Don't stick your hand in the fire again. What's he do? He sticks it again. And again. And again. What the fuck? Yeah, I'd like to say, how dumb can you be? But I guess we know how dumb. Pretty dumb. Whew. Pretty dumb. I don't feel that sorry for him, to be honest. The guy has had 3 prior marriages in 55 years of life to learn his lesson. Now, it seems like he's not the only one getting stupider. Seems like all men. Listen to this. Generals again warn that America's youth are getting too fat and too stupid to join the military. You're not smart enough to be Gomer fucking Pyle, apparently. Do you know what the minimum IQ is, I think, for the military? I think it's like 85 or something. If it goes below that, the military can't find anything to do for you. So if you have like an 85 IQ, maybe they can find a job for you as like a janitor in the military, which they would have janitors, of course, in the military, right? I mean, they want a janitor that can at least shoot a rifle. So, yeah, okay, you could be a janitor in the military, but if you have below an 85, you can't even push a fucking mop. They're essentially saying, yeah, generals warn that America's youth are getting too stupid and fat. This is great. So an organization comprised of hundreds of retired generals is once again sounding the alarm on the state of America's youth. Right. They're completely, totally, 100% unable to defend their country, which is what the global elites want, as they flood the country with low IQ migrants to replace you people, the youth of America. Well, the youth of America that isn't black or brown. They want to replace whitey, essentially. Mission Readiness, a bipartisan organization, that's the name, Mission Readiness, of 750 retired generals and admirals. Ooh, that's a lot of fucking generals and admirals. And by the way, at any given time, there aren't that many generals to begin with. So, yeah. Released its latest report last week detailing the dire straits facing military recruiters. According to the report titled Unhealthy and Unprepared, an estimated 71% of all young people in the U.S. between the ages of 17 and 24 do not qualify for military service. Unless you're a woman, of course. Yeah, women always qualify because they just continue to lower the standards. You can't do one pull-up? Okay, we'll make it 0. You can't run 2 miles in an hour and a half? Okay, we'll give you 2 hours to do it. It's ridiculous. Unless you're a woman, right? Of course, that's what they want. They want to they're going to have to lower the standards, by the way, eventually, because if they don't, there won't be anybody in the military. Unless you're a woman, of course. So, the military with fat dummies for men and even fatter dummies for women. Great! We could defend ourselves against those low IQ Neanderthals with their big bushy beards, their AK-47s. But who are very strong and aggressive and want us to die. And meanwhile, you got fucking military people with people that are all a bunch of fucking nihilists that believe life has no meaning. And they're just as likely to show their neck to you and ask you to cut it as they are to fight. Oh, that's going to make a real good fighting force. Yeah, we Americans are going to be so well protected in the future. Obesity disqualifies about 31% of youth, the report specified. In North Carolina, an estimated 72% of the population is ineligible to join the military due to being overweight, lacking adequate education, or having a history of crime or drug abuse. Well, of course, they're going to have to drop their standards and allow people in that have criminal histories. The new report was unveiled Wednesday by a group of retired officers and Major General Frank Muth, the commanding general of U.S. Army Recruiting Command. Retired Lieutenant General Samuel Ebsen said Mission Readiness has been warning the country about the impact of obesity on national security for nearly a decade. He said acting now to address the issue was critical to the nation's future defense. Meanwhile, there's no physical education schools anymore, are there? Do they have phys ed in school anymore? I remember when I was a kid, I hated phys ed. But not for the physical activities. I just didn't like the assholes in it who would be throwing balls at my fucking head. Right? Any of you out there old enough to remember dodgeball? Oh, man. I hated that shit. Yeah, let's get into a big fucking circle and throw fucking balls at each other. Oh, but they don't hurt. My ass, they don't hurt. That fucking ball smacking you in the face, it hurt. That was not pleasant. I remember we had, they would do these weird activities for like a week. You had like a dodgeball week. You had square dancing week. Anybody out there remember square dancing? Grab your partner, dozy-do. You dance around in a fucking circle with them. I always get stuck with the ugly broad. Oy vey. How does that always work out? I always got the ugly broad, even though it was the fucking gym teacher picking the partners. I don't know. I guess the gym teachers didn't like me very much. You're going to get the ugly broad every day. Fuck. Oh, my God. Do they even have that anymore? Do you even do anything physical in school anymore? Apparently not. We spend more than ever on students, but we can't afford things like art class or gym class. Yeah, of course. All right. So, I missed my place here. All right. Yeah, he said now is the time to address the critical issue. We know the military cannot solve this problem on its own. Well, yeah, you have no jurisdiction, no control over civilians. Children as young as 2 are experiencing rising obesity rates, and these rates increase with age. A lot of those kids are minorities, though, and poor families. Wait a second, Bernie says they're all oppressed, and they need help. How are they getting fat if they have enough money and resources to survive and thrive to the point where they can get obese? This demonstrates the need for obesity prevention, beginning very early in life and continuing through high school and beyond. We had that! It was called gym class! And not having fucking vending machines that pop out little fucking Debbies in school. Unhealthy and unprepared advocates for programs to promote healthy eating and physical activity both at home and at school. Physical education! PE class! Officials said healthy lifestyles must be encouraged early in life. The government always does this. I mean, they're lousy with everything they do, right? They're just a bunch of bureaucratic morons. Those are the type of people that get drawn to government jobs because they can't hack it in the private sector. The private sector is where people with actual talent go. So you've got the dregs of society gravitating towards government jobs, and then you wonder why they can't do a good job. Let's get rid of PE class. We'll just have kids be fat slobs. Eventually, they'll be fucking scooting around fucking school in those little fucking, those four-wheeled scooters that fat people sit on at Walmart. And old people, too. Yeah, you know, Walmart has those little fucking four-wheeled scooters. Remember that episode of Seinfeld where George pretended to be a cripple? He pretended to be a cripple to use the cripple bathroom, the handicapped bathroom in his new job, and they gave him a little scooter that old people use. That's what kids are going to be using in the future because they'll be so fat and unable to walk. What's the answer? PE. Wait a second. Didn't you bureaucratic morons get rid of PE because it's too expensive? Can't fund it. You just built a new fucking education building. Yeah, the Department of Education just spent $100 million building a new headquarters. But you're saying you can't afford PE? We needed that building. The house, more bureaucrats. Oh. But you can't afford PE. And now they're saying, oh, kids are getting fat. What do we do? Bring back PE, you idiots. The report paints a bleak picture of the state's, the nation's youth, and said the ineligibility of potential recruits was a large reason the Army failed to meet its recruitment goal last year. Well, that's okay. Just use that fact as a pretext to recruit more women who are even fatter and weaker than the men. The report notes that the remaining 29% of eligible youth, only 17% would qualify for active duty, and only 13% would achieve a satisfactory score on the Armed Forces qualification test. ASFAB, okay. Wow. Yeah, so 71% of people are ineligible on average. That leaves 29% of the population. How many of them want to be in the military, right? Not too many. Not too many. It's a shitty deal. The pay sucks, and you get your head blown off. Pass. And while the recruitable population declines, so too is interest in military service. Wars seem to be never-ending. The military-industrial complex is just putting us into ever more wars to make ever more profit. Yeah, I don't want to die. I mean, I'm too old to serve anyway, but Jesus Christ, who want to be in the military? People generally join the military at peacetime, thinking that they'll just serve 2 or 4 years and get out and go to university. Now we've just got endless wars. No, you're going to be deployed to Afghanistan. You're going to be deployed to the Middle East, and you're probably going to get your leg blown off. Sign on the dotted line. No. Last year, just 11% of 16 to 24-year-olds said they would definitely or probably serve in the military in the coming years. Keep in mind, the majority of that 11% are probably minorities themselves, poor, pathetic, low IQ losers. Like Nicolas Cage, who would get married 4 times. That is down from 13% in 2016. Well, we keep importing low IQ morons, at the same time ramping up the amount of war we're having. Yeah, less people are going to want to serve. Less people are going to want to serve in the military when the war seems never ending. So silly. Bring back PE. I hated PE, by the way. They had all these activities that were based on a week. You had like softball week, baseball week, fucking dodgeball. Who thought that up? Who was the maniacal scumbag, the sadist? Somebody really, really enjoyed watching other people suffer to create all these tasks that essentially involve nothing more than suffering, right? Or unless you were at like the top 1% of students that the teachers loved. You know, those 2 or 3 people that they would always pick to be captains, and then those people got to pick everybody who was on their team. They always picked the cool kids. You notice that? Always the cool kids got picked to be the captains. They never picked any of the loser kids, right? They just would reinforce whatever hierarchy already existed. But hierarchies are a social construct. They don't reflect biology or evolution at all. Okay. All right, let's move on. And it's sad. I think the gym doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, I guess there's just too many resources involved in having your kids take a shower at school, right? Like you have to anyway. You're not going to die. You sweat a little, you go to class. What's the big fucking deal? Have a change of clothes. I remember I had to take gym clothes to school. Do you have to take gym clothes to school anymore? Do kids even have to do that? All right. Anyway, let's move on. Whoa, this is kind of long. All right. I'll at least get into this a little bit. This is very interesting. Now, this is something we all know. Men are much more able to be alone than women. We know this to be true. It's reality. We know it. Stupid studies. Why don't you just do a study to find out if water's wet, huh? Yeah, so your fucking science can reinforce what we already know through simple common sense. So why don't men hate being single as much as women do? So, somebody's done some research, done some studies, polled, whatever, and found out that, guess what? Men don't have as big a problem being single. What does that mean, single? Like I'm single. Like I'm incomplete without somebody else. Fuck off. I'm not in a relationship and I don't want to be. Dear Evan, why don't men hate being... Evan Mark Katz. Understand men find love. What? Why don't men hate being single as much as women do? I know you say most men are marriage-minded underneath. No, they're not. But they seem much less interested in getting into a stable, committed relationship than women do and seem to drag their heels. And that's because they're not really interested in being in a marriage, okay? Okay? You idiot. We don't want to get married. We're much better at cost-benefit analysis than women. And more men are seeing that there's no benefit to marriage. Some of the things I hate about being single. You're a pathetic loser? Is that it? Who doesn't know who he is, lacks self-awareness, so he's uncomfortable in his own skin? Could that be it? One of the things I hate is lack of love. So you don't love yourself. Okay. Affection and emotional support. Okay, so you're emotionally unstable. You can't support yourself. Not having someone to go on vacation with. Don't go on vacation. You'll save money. Not having someone to share domestic tasks with. What are you, a fucking lazy sloth? You can't push a broom? You can't wash a fucking pair of socks? By the way, women don't do domestic chores. They don't. They'll get married. Even if you're the one going to work and they're just sitting at home on their fat ass, they'll complain about washing the fucking clothes, washing the dishes because that's oppressive. Feminism taught me I don't do these things. And that includes having sex with you. But give me money. Support me. Yeah. Being excluded from social gatherings because I don't have a partner. What social gatherings? Oh, you mean parties? I didn't know parties had this requirement that you had to have a mate. Aren't parties good places to meet and bang broads? Go alone. Not having someone to talk to at home on a day-to-day basis. I don't understand. So what? Get a pen pal on Skype or something. Talk to somebody on Skype. I don't know. Nobody to talk to. Wow, this guy sounds like a woman. This guy sounds like a woman. What a pussy. What's with men these days? You men are becoming pussies. I need somebody to talk to and share my love with. Are you a real man or are you a pussy? This guy's a pussy. Good Lord. Having to cope with financial burden of being single. Apartments, bills. Oh, what a loser. He thinks one of the benefits of being in a relationship is an easing of his financial burdens. Clearly, he hasn't been in very many relationships, because if he had, he would know women add to your financial burden. They don't take away from it. Get a roommate. If you're such a pathetic loser suffering from arrested development, and at your advanced age, I don't know how old this guy is, but I'm assuming he's in his 20s at least. If you're suffering from such arrested development that you can't take care of your fucking self, hey, pal, you got a problem. You got a problem that being with a woman will not help, but only will enhance. And also not having a regular source of quality sex available. He put that last, even though we know that's first, right? Because he doesn't want to seem like a pig. Surely these things apply to men just as much as women. If this is the case, why aren't men jumping up and down with excitement when they meet someone they connect with? Uh-huh. Surely these things apply. Why aren't they just as keen as we are to know where things are going early on in a relationship? A lot of men my age seem uninterested in a committed relationship, seeming to prefer a more casual, low investment, low return approach to relationships. Yeah, do you know why? Because with the low investment, there's also low risk. What's the risk if I'm dating some broad and she turns out to be a hoe? What is the risk if I'm dating her and she turns out to be somebody that really doesn't care about me? Break up with her. I mean, unless this guy wants to live with her, though. Oh, what a dummy. Wow, I'm too poor to take care of myself. I need a woman to help me. You know what kind of woman you're going to get if you're such a pathetic loser that you can't take care of yourself? You're going to get a pathetic loser who also can't take care of herself, and she's only with you to have somebody to take care of her. Great. You're both leeches, but one of you is going to be an even bigger leech, and one of you is going to end up dead, while the other has sucked all of your blood. And I leave it to you to guess who's going to be the bigger bloodsucker. Yeah. It'll be the woman, if you hadn't figured that out. Do men really enjoy the endless tedium and stress of going on a string of disappointing dates? No, not really. We don't really enjoy that. We enjoy the banging. The endless stream of tedious dates is just to get the banging. That's the part we enjoy. But we don't care about that. We don't enjoy this tedium of these dates. No. That's why Tinder is so popular and has empowered so many thoughts and whores to think that they're Miss Universe, right? Because so many men are swiping. How does that work? Which is the one where I don't remember because I didn't really use Tinder. So you swipe right and you're choosing them, and you swipe left and you're passing them by. Too many men are swiping right for women. Meanwhile, most women are swiping left because they have much higher standards than men when it comes to physical attractiveness. There was a story recently. Some guy, this was crazy. This just shows you how high female entitlement is. So this guy, he posted 3 standards. He was a guy, he went on Tinder, and all he did was had some standards. And he had 3 requirements. I don't remember what they were, but they were perfectly reasonable. And they were, by the way, they were nowhere near as unreasonable as most women's requirements. Be 6'3", make $150,000 a year at least, drive a Porsche, take care of me, and all this shit. And his requirements were nothing that unrealistic. They weren't unrealistic at all, in fact, but the media went wild. This guy's a story with this guy's standard is showing up in all the media outlets. This man had the nerve to have some standards. It was a big story because it's so rare. It's not a big story when women have standards. that are ridiculous and unrealistic, because that's the norm, right? But when a man has standards that even mirror those in a minor way, uh-oh, don't you trample on our female privilege. We're the only ones that get to have standards while we tell you you should accept big, fat, behemoth women. Oh, boy. This is great. All right. Anyway. Does it all come down to the capriciousness of the female orgasm, since men can have an orgasm with practically anyone? They don't much care who they're with, whereas if a woman finds someone who's actually good in bed, she's desperate to hang on to him. Your insights would be appreciated. He's writing to someone. And this is like a Dear Abby kind of thing. I'm not going to read the response. I just gave you my response. The response that this person gives is humongous. Oh my God, it's a fucking 12-page response. Ridiculous. Look, men, use women for what they're good for, all right? I know this sounds horrible if you're a wayman. Oh, you're a male chauvinist pig. Come on, look. Western women have been corrupted by feminism, and feminism is evil. And even though only a handful of women, percentage-wise, will identify as feminists, they are feminists, okay? They're feminists because they want all the privileges that come with being a woman in modern-day society, which have all been pushed for and obtained through the cultural Marxist idea of feminism, this evil death cult ideology that essentially wants to kill all men. Essentially destroy Western civilization at that and put women in a position of authority over men. And the female dream is essentially to have men as slaves, and they'll be nothing more than sperm donors for the women. This is the women's dream, okay? You think I'm wrong? Go read some feminist literature, okay? That is the obvious logical outcome to their agenda. Feminism's evil, okay? Feminists hate men. Even those moderate feminists, they're not moderate. There's no such thing as moderate feminism, because feminism is feminism, okay? It's all about man hate. I don't care how moderate you want it to seem, or it seems like it could be, might be. Oh, I'm a moderate feminist. I'm not like those big fat feminists like Big Red. Big Red is a famous, infamous feminist with fake red hair that hates men and laughs at male suicide. And that's most feminists, actually. They're all like that, even if they claim not to be. The ones that claim to be moderate, they're the ones that push this idea of first wave, second wave, third wave, because they want to push the idea of acceptable forms of feminism. There's different forms of feminism. Some feminism's good. No, it's all bad. It's all bad because it pushes the idea of equality. It pushes the idea of egalitarianism, which is at its heart evil. You can't make men and women equal. They're not the same. That's all the word equality means. Same. It's just a synonym for same. And men and women are not the same. And this is what you get when you push the idea of making men and women all the same. So, gentlemen, use women for what they're good for these days. They're only good for sex. I'm sorry. It sounds horrible. It sounds evil. But that's all they're good for. Don't marry them, because that just enables them to continue to be nasty, evil, feminist cunts. All right, I think that's about it. All right. So, if you like my content, please consider donating at therealistphilosopher.com/donate, or check me out on DLive. You'll find the link in the description of this video, or just go to DLive/therealist. So on DLive, I am the realist, which I am. If you don't like the red pills that I am doling out, well, you don't have to watch. But if you like reality, you like red pills, you like to hear how things really actually are without any sugarcoating, without anybody pandering to you and not wanting to hurt your feelings, well, that's me. That's me, motherfucker. So if you like my content, please consider donating. Also, if you'd like to be on the show, you can Skype whenever the show is running. Or you can send me an email if you'd like to have a more in-depth, serious conversation by emailing me at admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's ADMIN @therealistphilosopher.com. You can see that in the upper right-hand corner. And again, please consider following me on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, and Instagram. I'm especially active on Facebook and Twitter, replying to and commenting on various leftist mumbo-jumbo that I see on these platforms. So if you want to interact with me, those are two good places to do so. And again, you can Skype me anytime, and I'll add you to my Skype, and then you'll be on the show the next time I have a show. But I don't have my Skype open all the time, obviously. But yeah, you'll have to download Skype. I don't really see why that's so difficult. You just download it. How is that difficult? I don't understand. I don't understand why that's so difficult for some of you. It's actually a very good tool. So you might want to think about getting that. Anyhow, I will see you tomorrow, same time. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.